Have you heard about businesses moving from California to Texas? Are you wondering why they're doing it? Or have you maybe considered doing it yourself? Well, my husband and I did just that. 3 months ago, we left Orange County, California after 20 years there and moved both ourselves and our LLC to Texas. And today I'm going to tell you the reasons why we did it, the pros and cons, and all about our experience. So make sure you stay tuned to the very end. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jill Fox, and I'm the owner of Fox Social Media. My company helps businesses, practices, and brands to do all of their online marketing so that they can gain customers and increase the revenue. I am also the owner of Simple Marketing Academy, which was created specifically to help the very small business owner to learn how to market cost effectively, simply, and quickly on their own. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to say is that I love California. I loved living there. We were there 20 plus years. We raised our kids there. We had a beautiful home. We never really thought about moving at all. It never even was on our radar 10 years ago, even maybe as much as 5-7 years ago, not even on our radar. It was an amazing place to live back then. So it was a hard decision to make. And California, everybody knows the weather's beautiful and the scenery is beautiful. It is beautiful there. So in recent years, the cons of living in California started to outweigh the pros in a big way. And so much so recently that the decision to move became a very simple one. And I want to preface what I'm going to tell you by saying this is all about our research and our experience. I'm not a lawyer or a tax accountant or, any of those professional designations. I'm a small business owner and a marketer. And so I want to tell you what we found when we were researching and how our experience went. And please, if you have any questions at all, you can find me at jillwfox.com. Links to everything are right there. So you can find me on my website right there. Please feel free to ask any questions and I'll be as helpful as I can in answering them. So first of all, my husband, Joe, and I own an LLC. And under our LLC, we have 3 DBAs. So we have basically 3 small companies underneath our LLC. The first one is Fox Social Media. And that's my business that I've had for over 10 years. And I do marketing, all the online marketing for small businesses. I love it. I have amazingly wonderful clients. It's fun. I'm blessed to have this business. And what I found in recent years, and especially with the pandemic, that there's a lot of very small business owners that would ask me for my help, but could not afford Fox Social Media's completely done for you services because that just wasn't in their budget. So I created Simple Marketing Academy, which is number 2 of our businesses, so that these people had a place to go to be trained and mentored and learn about marketing so that they could do it themselves really simply, really quickly, really easily, and really cost effectively. So number 3 is actually my husband's business, and you can find his business at joefoxfranchise.com. That's his website. After 30 plus years of experience as a CEO, as a COO, turning around businesses, starting up businesses, fixing businesses, he has just a multitude of experience, and he began helping people find franchises to buy. So the cool thing is, 1, he absolutely loves helping people. And number 2, his services are 100% free. So he has a business where he will help people literally walk them through every step and kind of stay with them even after they buy their franchise. And he will point them in the right direction of resources such as legal or financial or anything they may need, and just help them get into the right business for them. And he, like I said, he loves it, and it's totally free for anyone using him. He's actually paid by the franchise companies if someone buys a franchise. So those are our 3 DBAs. We work from home, so we can work from anywhere, and that in itself is a huge blessing. But what we found was that we had personal and business reasons for moving. And they mesh together because we work from home. You have to live where you work for the most part, and everything kind of meshed together. So the main three reasons we moved are: number one, the cost of living. That's pretty obvious when I think most people know how expensive it is to live in, especially Orange County, California. And just to give you an example, the house that we sold in Orange County is about the same size and on about the same size lot as we have here in Houston. And that house is worth four times what our house in Houston is worth. So right there, it was a massive bargain making the move. The other thing that is drastically less here is the electric bill. In California, and this was a couple years ago, in the summers, this was probably maybe 5 years ago, because we ended up getting solar on that house in California. So maybe 5 years ago, and it's gone way up since then. Our electric bill in California we had 2 air conditioning units, and we did have a pool there. Our electric bill was $1,000 in the summer, $1,000 a month in the summer. In Texas, we have 4 air conditioning units, but no pool. And our electric bill for half of July and August, which is very hot here, was $225. Just incredible savings right there. Gasoline is somewhere around maybe $2.65 right now per gallon. Last time I got it in California was a few weeks ago, and it was $4.26 a gallon there. We found that food is significantly less too. So I'll give you an example, which I probably shouldn't, gives away my massive sweet tooth problem that I have. But this one dessert that I love, identical, same thing. It's $5.99 in California. It's $3.99 here. So it just gives you a little indication of how much lower the food costs are here. So basically, the cost of living overall is drastically lower here. Another huge factor is that there are no income taxes, and that means for business or individuals, no state income taxes. So the second reason we left is the political climate. The changes that have happened over the last several years in California have been very negative in our opinion. There's a lot of things happening that are not good. The state isn't run well. The state of California had to be bailed out by the federal government this last year because it was run so poorly. Our taxes are high, and we also were really not liking the direction of things in California. I didn't like to see the way hardworking, law-abiding citizens were treated, and that wasn't very good. I did not like to see people being judged, good and bad, by the color of the skin, their sexual orientation, where they're from, etc. To my husband and I, all of that is completely irrelevant, and the only thing that matters about a person is their character. So I did not like to see that toxic turn, and I did not like to see the way children are being treated. There's a lot of very, very negative things that are being proposed to be taught to children. Incorrect, unfactual, hurtful, not good. So there's more to it than that. I could go on and on and on and on, but I won't. But there's a lot of reasons that we think that California's just taken a major turn for the worse. We've got massive wildfire problems. Some of that's the drought. Some of that's total mismanagement over years and years of the forests. We've got a rising crime rate, and our homeless crisis is absolutely, totally, completely out of control. There are so many problems in that state right now. It's a political disaster area. And it breaks my heart because I love California. I hate seeing this. But that was our number 2 reason. And our number 3 reason is the business, taxes, and policies. California is not known to be a very business-friendly state. So one of the examples I want to give you is in California, let's say our LLC lost money. We would still owe the state of California $800 in franchise tax fees every year, even if we lost money. In Texas, We don't owe any franchise tax fees unless our business makes more than $1 million a year. And again, this could change, so make sure you check these facts at the time of listening to this recording. But that's a big savings right there. Texas is also much more business friendly. Texas views businesses as being essential, jobs being essential to families and to its citizens and to the economy. So they treat businesses well. What's interesting in Texas, in addition, is that they actually have incentive programs for small businesses, both with financial and funding. And so there's a lot of different programs for small businesses to help them, and in turn, they're helping the economy to grow here as well. So it's definitely a pro-business state. And you probably know that because many businesses and individuals are relocating here, which we'll touch on later. So I think those are the main reasons we moved here. Those were huge. Those were huge reasons to us. And what we found so far is that we have taken our LLC, as I said, and done what's called either a domestication or a conversion. So we took our LLC and completely removed the entire thing, including all the DBAs, from California and made it strictly a Texas business. So we have nothing to do with California anymore, not their laws. We're not falling under their laws. We're not being taxed by them, any of those things anymore. Thank the Lord. So when we did that, we actually used an attorney to make sure it was all done properly. The other thing that I found was that I actually lost a few clients to COVID closures. Now, as many of you know, California wasn't handled well during the pandemic, and states like Texas and Florida were a lot better, treated their businesses a lot better and allowed them to stay open with still using protection, still protecting the citizens, but not requiring full closure. So I lost clients because they went out of business with the pandemic, my California clients. So here, businesses didn't face such strict regulations that forced them out of business. So there's a lot more businesses here that are a lot better position, in a lot better financial position as well. So that also helps with getting clients, because a lot of your clients come from where you're located anyway. So that was another big step for us. So in the move, what we have found is that I promised you, here's all these cons I'm telling you about California and all the pros about moving. Well, here, I promised you the cons. So the cons about moving to Texas are the weather is number one, and you hear that all the time. Houston is hot and it's humid, but my husband and I are from the East Coast. So what we found is it's kind of similar to like a South Carolina weather. It's very coastal type weather. So, and I don't know if you can hear the thunder, but there's a storm coming up right now. It may last a minute, it may last an hour, and then it's out and the sun's back out. So it's not terrible, but it is hot and humid. That being said, air conditioning is really cheap. So that's cool. So there are bugs, and I'm not fond of my, the 20 bug bites I got in the first 2 weeks being here, but again, neither of those are as bad as I was expecting. And somehow I figured out a system, because I haven't had a bug bite since my third week here. So we're doing better with that. The other cons, I would say, it is not as pretty as Orange County. It just isn't, but pretty much nowhere is. I love my house. I love my little neighborhood. This is really pretty, and they do bury the power lines here, but a lot of places they don't because it's more costly. So sometimes you'll get a few more internet outages than you would in living in California, between storms and those things. They don't zone as well here. So it's a little funky in certain places, but again, I'm stretching here to give you every detail. Now, the only things that I found that are more expensive in Texas than they are in California are three things. Number one, and the biggest one, is homeowners insurance. Homeowners insurance is, I want to say, mine is probably a third more than it was in California. Again, same size house, same size lot, way less expensive house, but my insurance is about a third more, my homeowners. My car insurance is a little bit more. They get storms, you're going to get hail damage maybe. So taking those things into account, that car insurance is a little bit more. The other thing that I want to mention, just as a side note, is in California, I had earthquake insurance. In Texas, I have flood insurance. We do not live in a flood zone. However, I got it anyway. But what's interesting is those policies are literally the exact same price to the dollar. So I literally traded earthquake insurance for flood insurance. So those were the same. Now, what you're going to hear all the time, and it really isn't true, and I'll tell you why, is that the real estate taxes are way higher here. They're not. The tax percentage is higher here. However, when I look back, and when we left California, I was paying 1% in taxes on the the assessed value of the home. Here, you pay 2.744, I believe it is, in Harris County. That percentage is a lot higher. However, this house is only a quarter of the cost of the one in Orange County. Therefore, the actual dollar value that I spend in real estate taxes on my house is still less than it was in California. So really, to this day, I've only found that the car insurance and the homeowner's insurance are higher. I haven't found anything else that's higher here. Those are the pros. Those are the cons. What I think is really important was I just read an article in the CEO magazine, and it said that 44% of all CEOs in California are considering moving their business out of that state because of the regulations and policies and everything. Actually, what the CEOs cited as their main reasons for moving are, number one, the tax policy in California. Number two, the regulatory climate in California. And number three, the talent availability in California. So that's a really interesting concern also. So California has a law, and I can't remember the name or title. It might be AB 5, if I'm not sure I'm right though. Basically stating that if somebody does work that is essential and part of your business, what your business does, they have to be an employee. Now that may be fine for a big company, and I can understand that. But for someone like me, that would literally put me out of business. So what they're doing, forcing me to have that person be an employee and not an independent contractor, is to pay all these additional fees for that person, employment taxes. And, they have to be, they have to fit under all these regulations that could get really expensive if they pop up. So basically, the state of California has prevented me and many other small business owners like me from being able to hire a person to work for me that lives in California. So even though I'm in Texas, I can't hire somebody in California. It's really sad because there's so many talented, amazing people that may only want a part-time job. They may only want, they want to work from home. They may be raising children or have a reason they are looking for that kind of work. They're out. No, California's made it so they can't get those jobs. So it's kind of sad. So that's another cost and issue when you want to hire independent contractors to work with your business, which is a huge, huge savings. I'm an independent contractor for all my clients, every single one. I love it. It's amazing. The other reasons that the CEOs like Elon Musk, like Google's moved and some of the other big companies have left California. There's a lot more. It's just what pops up in my mind is they cite obviously taxes, housing cost, the politics, the major homeless crisis. Oh my God, it has gotten so bad. It's so bad that TMZ did a story on Venice Beach. And the very first clip and the very first thing they showed in one of their shows was how bad the homelessness in Venice Beach is. That when TMZ covers it, there's a problem. The wildfires that are out of control, the drought, the major crime rate, the rising crime rate, there's just so many problems right now that can be solved with the correct leadership. And, just on a side note, praying for California and all the wonderful people there, that we get the right people running both our country and our state. So another interesting side note is that so many people are leaving the state of California that they have lost 1 seat in the House of Representatives. In Texas has gained 2 seats in the House of Representatives because they've had so many people come and move to the state. So that kind of shows you the trend as well. Again, you've got to look at it for yourself. Is this the right move for me, for my family, for my business? And do your own research and talk to those professionals. Listen to other people. Mine is my opinion and my research, but you're going to hear other opinions, and then you can kind of get a good feel for what it's like. Another thing that I thought was interesting in that CEO magazine article was that they did a survey of CEOs, and California was ranked as the worst state in the entire United States for businesses, and Texas was ranked the number 1 state in the United States for businesses. So we've already talked about all the reasons for that, but I thought that was kind of interesting as well. So I think that it's really important to do your research. Ask professionals, your lawyer, your tax person, your accountant, do that kind of research. And also listen to other people who've done it, not just me, but other people who've made the move, and listen to the pros and cons. Everyone has a little bit of a different story. And so you can kind of gather up more information to see if it's right for you as well. So for my husband and I, it took us 2 years to make this move. And so far, so good. I hope that if you have any questions, you'll reach out. I'm happy to answer them if I can. And next week, we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming, and we'll be talking about marketing again. But I thought it was really important to share this story with all of you, just to tell you why we moved, and also to see if it helps anyone else trying to make these kind of decisions like we were. So please make sure you follow and subscribe to the Small Business Social show or podcast, and I will see you again next week.